finance. We have a lot going on tonight. First and foremost, I want to bring up Gage and Jen, Gage Wilson and Jen Bond. We're going to be who's going to give us a little bit of a presentation. We're going to do a couple slides, and then we'll turn it over to online, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about some of our own creative finance examples and case studies. Yeah, grid is right now it's nationwide. There are relocations popping up all over the country. So, in addition to any resources you have here in Shenandoah Valley, if you guys are looking to do deals in Knoxville or Orlando or Gainesville, or I think there's a North Carolina one. Yeah, they're popping up everywhere. Yeah, LA, there's a new one in LA. You guys have access to all of that through the network. So, obviously, it's all free.
I'm Slate. I'm a realtor by trade. I love the investment side, underground by club, real estate. It's something you're seeing happens. And I built my first house and I was around when I was 18. So I love land and construction.
And I'm Mike Cappello, investor, wholesaler.
Okay.
Investor, wholesaler.
Just couldn't hear you very well.
Trying to do a little bit of everything in the investment space, creative finance. We'll talk about that, obviously, innovation. Do a lot with pre-foreclosures too, so we got to run into pre-foreclosures. A ton of pre-foreclosure, probate, all the messy, ugly, stinky deals. We'd like to solve those problems. Turn it over to you guys.
Gage Wilson, I own the Vision Group. Class A general contractor. We also have a building material supply store. We are structured, set up, and work with investors on it. We don't service the general public. We deal with investor groups. New construction, we specialize really in short-term rental properties, all the way from conception through furnishing, ready to go.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bond. I am a real estate investor here in Warren County, and I fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesale. Sorry, can you hear me? My name is Jennifer Bond. I'm a real estate investor in Warren County, and I fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesale. I've been a landlord for over 20 years. I was house hacking before.
You're not that old.
I was 5. Yeah, I was 3. But I'm here to network and meet people and do some deals and help them. So thank you for coming.
It's Jen's birthday, everybody.
Over the next, this meeting in particular and next meeting, so bring your friends, but we're finishing up a 3 luxury cabins in Luray. They're all going to be open for short-term rental very, very soon. We're in the final touch-up, furnishing stages, and tonight we're going to raffle off a free 2-night stay at one of our cabins.
So I'm gonna pass around this bucket. So I need everybody to please be honest. Fill out your name, phone number, and email on a grid thing, and scrunch it up and stick it into this bucket. 1 per person. Sorry, I got pens. Here you go.
And I think while we're passing that around, I want you guys to introduce yourselves. So we'll start here.
Give us your 30-second intro so we can get on that.
Hi, I'm Thomas. Lived in Front Royal for about 9 years now. I started wholesaling in Front Royal. Moved that business virtually to Richmond, where I'm currently at now. So still buying deals, wholesaling, but more than that, looking to start getting to fix and flips and buying homes as well.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Callie. I'm his business partner. I'm just familiar with wholesaling, but my goal is also is buying homes, fix and flips, and I just help them out with real estate area wise, but I just got my real estate license as well. I'm in the process of that, so flirting with trying to get into real estate.
I have an influence.
I'm Judy. I'm a real estate agent by trade and been licensed since 2005. Got into little investing with some buying whole properties and just recently purchased one for a midterm rental. So exploring that. I'm interested in learning more about fix and flips and, you know, maybe partnering up with somebody to learn the ropes on that.
Carl Fisher, all the best real estate in Blue Ridge. I've been down here for about 5 years, but been coming here for 50 plus. And I think I just walked into heaven. What do I know? I'm a licensed broker in Virginia and West Virginia. Had a team number 2 internationally with Remax in 2001. I'm 83 years old. I still can help people. I still enjoy it. And when I don't, I stop it. But yeah.
I'm Jana Sutton. I am a realtor in Virginia with Sampson Properties. I'm also a Reiki healer. My family has several investment properties. I am on the board of directors for Dandelion Meadows, a female recovery organization in Berryville. We're currently searching for a new property. Just saying. But I'm also a search engine optimizer, a blogger, a web designer, and I have my own wellness business too on the side. So, hi.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Dana Hale. Thanks for inviting me. I'm an attorney here in town in Front Royal, and I was a landlord for 30 years, I suppose, literally until one of my tenants murdered the other tenant. That left a bad taste in my mouth. But I love investing and am interested in kind of getting back into it. I'm looking at one particular property right now. Excited to get to
Great.
know.
Thank you for being here. JB, go ahead, man.
My name is JB. Jen's my better half. I'm a master electrician by trade, general handyman. That's about all I got.
I'm Karen Angel. I'm fairly new to this. I'm in my first investment property. It's a buy and hold. We are so close to getting it finished and ready to rent. And I'm still learning as much as I can.
Steven Stubbs, Apex Real Estate Solutions. We've been doing everything. Help create deals.
Sure.
Always looking for new deals to support.
So here's what I want you to do for me. You know what to do with that, right? I just wanted to build it a couple of years ago. So you tell me what you think.
My name is Joel Fernandez. I live in Neighborhood down in Rileyville, Northwest. And I'm fairly new to this. My brother-in-law, Forrest, kind of took me off to a little meeting invited me to come. For those of you who know Forrest or not. My wife and I are kind of looking to get into some real estate investing. We're looking at some homes in Florida right now. Working with Forrest and my Josephine on looking at stuff. Just wanted to come be a part of the community, connect, network, and learn.
You said Joel?
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Joel.
My name is Mark. I live in Middletown. I'm a buy and hold person, and I'm just all that family.
Mark?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm Cassie. I have been investing 3 years now. I've got 3 single-family buy and holds, and I just did a major renovation on one of them. That was my first one. Finished it Sunday. That's over. And I'm excited to do another one. So that I'm learning how to scale.
And you solved your lending issue too, right?
What was it?
Did you have like some money out, means?
Oh, no. That's still a work in progress.
Okay. Sorry, sore subject.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, Shenor?
Hello, everyone. I'm Shenandoah. It's like the Chin or South Carolina, everybody. I'm a nurse practitioner full-time, and real estate is kind of what I'm getting into, and I've got to on the side. And so I'm hoping to connect and build like a long-term portfolio.
Hi, I'm Frank Ortado, and we're out of Winchester. I'm an investor in the flips and some holds. Recently finished a pretty big project in June and just looking for another building too.
Thanks, Frank.
Hi, I'm Joe. Year before, started living in Rankin Architect Planner. We decided just in plan. I usually look for trouble plan that nobody else wants. What I noticed was that the competitors. Here's that.
Good to see you. Cool. Did everybody get their name in the bucket? Good. Got it. We're going to do that at the end. So, do anything criminal.
What I ended up using elementary as the primary source. Which comes. But I always wanted to do that. Anyone that had that team.
I also, while he's getting set up, I do have a deal that I'm trying to move. I don't know if everybody's seen it. I sent it out last week. It is a buy and hold on Strasburg Road, 3-bed-ish. It's like 2 beds with kind of like a big loft, 1 bath. It's a good house on Strasburg Road. I'm asking $245 for it. ARV is probably $300, and it needs 20K, maybe. It's in really good shape. Yeah, I mean, you can literally it's a good house. So if you guys look for something, let me know. It's all down there.
It's just for the reason.
I'm going to take center stage. Got it.
Hey guys, glad to be here. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah. So my name is Mike Casey. That's who I am. I've been investing in real estate for a while. My first property over 20 years ago at the age of 21. I've never gone a year without buying real estate since. My goal is to buy 1 property a year for the rest of my life. At some point, it's 2, then 5, then 50, and now my goal is to buy and close on about 100 properties per year. And so we're growing our portfolio. Most of what I do is long-term rentals. We do some short-term rentals and co-living, and then we do creative financing as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about some of the deals. Anybody listen to Bigger Pockets? So I was on there a few years ago. If you're curious about my entire story, look it up on an investment guide, and I share my journey. I'm from Hawaii originally. I've been living here in Northern Virginia. I'm in Loudoun County right now for almost 15 years. And invested throughout the United States as well. I love communities, I love masterminds, I love the great community and communities like this because it's so important to find like-minded people. Anybody feel weird when they're like obsessed about real estate? Like I know I'm weird, right? Like, I've been married for a while, my wife's not as weird at it as I am, she's not obsessed as I am, right? So my conversations kind of are limited around my family, my spouses, people I love. They just don't care about this as much as I do. Right? It makes sense. I get it. So finding other weird people is my passion that are obsessed about real estate. So I say I'm kind of like real estate. I'm obsessed about business and investing in margins is what I do. So I invest in margins, and if you can buy something with a margin, then you probably can make money. Right? There's an equity margin and there's a cash flow margin as well. And understanding the margins is pretty important as well. So I'm part of multiple communities. You guys are part of any of these. I love to chat. My mastermind, Go One Edge, Life Tribe, Cash Breakfast Club, Bigger Pockets, and Legacy Travel Club as well. So we're going to talk about creative financing. And I normally do like 2-hour-long master classes. We're condensing this in 30 minutes. So it's going to feel like I'm talking fast, because I need to talk fast to get what I think is important out in this session. I'm happy to hang out as long as you guys want to kind of talk through various concepts. Some of you might be doing this at a very high level already. Some of you might have never heard about some of the terms we're going to discuss. So we're going to kind of cover the spectrum from beginning to end on some of these topics. Feel free to raise your hand if you have questions, along the way. But a lot of people get into creative financing to figure out, how do I minimize the cash out of pocket when I buy and invest in real estate, right? And that's not the only way to do creative financing. I actually put cash into many deals that I buy with creative financing. I'll show you some examples at the end. But if you just have to list off, what are some of the top ways to buy real estate or invest with no money or minimal money out of pocket? What do you guys think? Subject to, we're definitely going to cover that today, absolutely. What else? Seller financing, right? Seller carries, seller financing. What are some other ways? Wholesaling. So that's getting to making money right through the sale of a contract. That's a paper flip, absolutely. Novations. Love novations. It's making a comeback. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. We've got one novation in the contract right now.
Real estate agent getting a commission.
Real estate agent getting a commission.
Gifted commission.
What's that?
Gifted commission.
Gifted commission. Explain that to me.
Like when the agent gives their commission towards the down payment of the.
Ah, look at that. That's called good negotiation. That's all that is. Good negotiation, getting some assistance, and you're using that commission to reduce your down payment. Like, what else?
Rent to own.
What's that?
Rent to own. Lease
Rent to
option.
own, lease options? Yep, absolutely. Yeah, these are all great solutions. I'm just going to go over a list. Most of them we talked about. But pulling a HELOC out of a property, if you already have a property, is one of the easiest ways to get started. So if you have equity somewhere, pulling that out to go buy real estate, is that really your money? Is the money from a HELOC really your money? Who does that belong to?
The bank.
It belongs to the market, right? So your home value went up and down and up and down over time. Did you do anything really for that? The market gave, and the market will take away at some point. The market's going to give. So really, the market owns your equity. And then once you control that equity, and if you control that equity for a period of time through some sort of loan, like a HELOC, and you do something smart with it, like buy real estate, that's how you do it with none of your money. It's the bank's money and the market's money. You're able to do that. So that's by far one of the easiest ways to do that. Hard money lending and gap partners. So hard money lending, I think you guys have dealt with this, but you've been in fix and flip at any point, and you're buying cash. That's one way to do it. And you might buy cash, and it could be someone else's cash. A hard money lender. Any hard money lenders in the room? Nope. All right. So, has anybody worked with a hard money lender before? What's a typical down payment a typical hard money lender would require when you buy a property? 20, 25. Yeah, 20. I would say between 10 and 30%, most hard money lenders will want some sort of skin in the game of 10% to 30% depending on your experience, depending on the property, right? So that 10 to 30% is called the gap. So you can bring that money, cover that gap, or you can find a gap partner that says, well, I'll bring that 10%. You do all the work, but I'll bring the 10%. So now you're not bringing the money or all of the money. You have the experience and know-how or the time to oversee that project, right? So you can invest with none of your own money or minimal until you only take someone else's money once you have some experience and you trust with that money, and that's definitely the way to do it. Private money lending, has anybody worked with a private money lender before? What's the difference between a private money lender and a hard money lender?
Conditions. The conditions of the
condition of the property?
Conditions of the loan.
Conditions of the loan, okay. I think there's, I'm a private money lender sometimes. I have almost the same conditions as most hard money lenders do because they have a really good system. They just copy it, right? That's for protection. But the difference is one's an institution and one is your cousin, your uncle, your parents, your kids. Someone with money that's not growing their money that says, I think I want to be in real estate, but I have no time to figure it out. So I would want to be in real estate or protected by real estate through some sort of vehicle with someone that I trust. And so someone in your network absolutely has money that they're so angry about how much or how little they're making on their money in the bank or the retirement account or whatever it is. They can convert their retirement account to a self-directed IRA. They can start lending that to you. And they can make 8%, 9%, 10% which is more than they're making right now, and you can buy real estate with it, and it's, if you mess up, guess what? They're the bank. They can foreclose on you and they're protected because they have an asset, right? So there's some protection. That's private money lender. Lease options with the house hack. So lease options, we talked about that earlier. That's rent to own. You're renting it, you're paying for an option to buy the home. And we're going to talk about control. There's value to control real estate. If you control real estate, that is worth something. Wholesaling as an example. You control it through a contract, an exclusive agreement to buy that property. That is worth something that you can sell to somebody else. If you get a lease, you're controlling the usage of the property. But if you get a lease and an option, meaning you have exclusive rights to buy that property for a period of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, that is worth something to someone. Does that make sense? So that contract could be your option to buy it, or maybe it's an assignable option to sell it to someone else for a fee of whatever, $1, $1 million. Depending on how valuable that option is to the end buyer, you can name your price there. And then, what's house hack? You guys heard that before? What does it mean to house hack?
Renting out a portion of your home.
Yeah, so your primary residence, and you get your primary residence to pay you money, right? The worst investment you ever make in your life, that's not in real estate, is to be your primary residence. At some point, can it be a good investment? Can your primary residence be a good investment at some point? When is that point?
When you sell it?
When you sell it. If you have perfect timing. That's it. Anybody know someone that sold their primary residence and lost money? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows. Many people, right? So the reality is, it's not the investment just for a primary residence. That's not what it is. You need perfect timing. Well, that makes sense.
I'm going to say I did something a little different. I refinanced full of cash out, bought 3 houses.
I love it. I love it. So yes, that's a way of hacking your house, using the equity of your house. Now it became an investment property because your house owns properties, right? You don't really own those properties. Technically, you do, but your house bought those properties, right? So using your primary residence to make you money is when it becomes an investment. If you have good or perfect timing, at some point when you move out, it may become a good investment for you. But I truly believe if you house hack and you rent out a portion of your home, your basement, your rooms, whatever it may be, now you can start living for free or even making money while you live if you're willing to sacrifice comfort for a period of time. So I love that from house hack. These options, sandwich. Anytime you hear something that's with food, that means you're probably going to make money. That's all it means. Wraps and sandwiches. We're doing a wrap for that. So sandwich, same thing. You control the property. You don't own it. You have an option, an exclusive option to buy the property. That's worth something. You can buy it, or you can put it in a sandwich, serve it up to someone else. You're paying the seller, let's just say $5,000 for the exclusive right to buy their home at any point in the next 2 years. So it says, yeah, I'm good with that. Or the landlord said, I'm good with that. And here's the price. And then the market goes up. Now the home is worth more. And you're saying, I don't actually want to buy that property, but I want to sell my rights to someone else. I paid $5,000, and I get someone to pay me $10,000 for the rights to buy this property at this pre-agreed upon price. So it's like wholesaling through, like, just with your landlord, your property itself. What's arbitrage? What does that mean in real estate? Has anybody done arbitrage before?
All the time, man.
So arbitrage, so it's my least favorite form of real estate because you don't actually own anything. There's so many wealth triggers in real estate that is amazing. The reality is you don't own the real estate. You get to lease the real estate from someone else and arbitrage and take advantage of a margin, talk about a margin. So this might be you rent from a landlord and you don't stay in it, you sublease it to someone else and you're going to do it for more than what you're paying. Right? So let's say the landlord, you're the landlord, you have a property for sale, for rent, and you want to rent $2,500, it's only worth $2,300, but you need $2,500 to break even. So that's your situation. No one's fighting at all. Then I come along and I say, I'll rent your property for $2,500. And what you said, I'm excited about that. But I said, hold up. I actually don't ever plan to live in the property. Here's what I want to do. I want you to give me the ability to sublease it to whoever I want. I'm probably going to do co-living, room-to-room rentals, or short-term rentals. And I'm probably going to make a lot of money doing that. Mr. Landlord, you can do this yourself. I'm telling you, you can do this yourself. It's a lot of work. But if you don't want to do this, I'll pay you more than market rate right now, $2,500, and if you allow me to do this to someone and rent this to someone else. If you're the landlord, what do you say? Hell no. Hell no. That's every single time. It's a hell no. It's not even maybe. It's a hell no. That doesn't make sense. And then I said, okay, I can actually pay you $27. No, it doesn't make sense. All right, I can pay you $27. So at some point, everyone has a price that starts to make sense. You just got to understand the price that you pay, whether it's market rate or below or above it. Is there enough margin between that and what you can get for it? If I know I can get $8,000 a month, I can go much higher than $2,500 a month. It's going to take me work. I need the systems. I need the team to do that. But that's what arbitrage is. Like I said, it's a great way to make cash. It's a business, but you don't actually own the real estate. A year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, whenever your lease ends, you have nothing to show for it, other than hopefully a lot of cash you made that you're using to go buy your own real estate. Subject to, we'll talk about this. There's some case studies here in a bit, but subject to, looks like we have a Hook and Pace motor. He made this, he didn't create it, a lot of people like Pace created it, but it's been around since the beginning of time, since the beginning of real estate. If you look on the old HUD statements, there's a line under there that still states and has always stated, subject to an existing mortgage. I'm buying this property subject to an existing mortgage, meaning it's staying in place. The mortgage is not going to be paid off. We're mutually agreeing, buyer and seller, to not pay off this mortgage. You have to have some agreements in place and business structures in place to make sure that we do that correctly. Because if you're the bank and someone sells a property out of a mortgage onto someone else, what do you want as the bank? You want your money back, right? There's a due on sale clause. Due on sale clause that absolutely banks have in place. And so there are some protections around how to do this correctly so we're not triggering a due on sale clause and protecting yourself as you are investing. So you're buying the property, but there's I think I have 5 case studies of properties I'm going this week. I'm going to share with you guys. 2 of them have subject to tied to it. And so I'm closing on the property. I'm going to own the property, but the mortgage is going to stay in the seller's name. And so we just got to make sure we have our business agreements in place, powers of attorney, how we hold title, all needs to be specific so that we make that work and still go for it. So wrap is kind of like doing a subject to. Let's say I'm buying a property. So one of the properties that I'm buying has a 3.5% interest rate on it. So that interest rate was more valuable than the property to me, right? I kind of like the property, but I love the interest rate. So I could pay that seller more if I got a 3.5% interest rate than if I had a 7.5% interest rate. Does that make sense? Especially if I have cash flow. My goal is to hold the property forever. I want to buy the property and hold it forever. So I really don't care about cash flow in 99% of my purchases. And so that interest rate is really important to me. So a 3.5% interest rate. But let's say I find someone that is interested in taking that property right after I buy it. And they say, hey, I'm willing to give you same price, maybe $10,000 more, $100,000 more, whatever it is, but I want you to give me that rate. And we say, no, that's my rate. I want to keep that rate. I'm going to wrap it, and I'm going to create a mortgage and say, you're paying me, I'm paying the seller 3.5, but you're paying me 5%. Is that still a good deal? Who would be happy with a 5% interest rate right now? Everyone would be happy with that. I'm now making a margin on that rate. I got that loan from someone else. I'm paying 3.5. Someone's paying me 5%. So I'm making possibly a profit on the sale, with the assignment, and 1% every single month. Now I'm the bank collecting money. It's a good position to be in, right? So that's a wrap. Your joint ventures with other investors. There's people in this room that's been thinking about investing for a while that haven't on it, and you just talk to someone and say, hey, let's just partner together. So if you joint venture with somebody else, and there's different values for every role. There's 3 roles in every real estate transaction. Right? Someone finds a deal, and that's worth something. We're either going to pay them a fee, or there's equity that's needed. Someone funds the deal. Someone needs to bring the money, and someone needs to have the experience to run the deal. Many deals that I do, I play all 3 roles, but you might be saying, I don't have the experience yet, but I have money, or I know how to find deals. So that's bringing something to the table. How much is that worth? Is it worth 10%, or is it worth 30%? It really depends on who you're working with. But understanding your value, you can bring value to a deal, even if it's not playing all 3 of those roles. Novation. Anybody wants to know what innovation is real quick? It's innovation. You said innovation. She's like, no, I don't know. All right. Don't worry about it. So, it's a joint venture with a seller for the most part, in simple terms. In Loudoun County, where I am, there used to be a lot of farm area, and builders are like, I love this 100-acre place, and I can build 100 homes on this. So they're talking to these farmers to buy up land. Many of those farmers agree to novations versus sales. So let's say the current market value for buying land is $10 million. It's a lot. But rather than sell it for $10 million, if I agree to a novation, which is a partnership, not a sale, you're going to spend years developing my land, putting money into my land, reducing your risk and your cost for the next few years as you get everything approved. But in return, I'm going to get an equity split on the payout for every home that you sell, or the one fix and flip that you do, and that's projected to be higher. Let's say not 10 million, it's 15 million. But I'm going to get that in the future through incremental payments as you are making money. So it's basically an agreement from the seller to say, I don't need my money right now, but I don't have the money or the time or the experience to spend money on this right now. You're going to take over, and rather than you giving me a lump sum, I'm expecting a much bigger lump sum in the future. That's a novation, it's a business agreement. You can do this for a big plot of land for development. You can do this for one home for a fix and flip. It is typically short term, because the seller typically in 6 months or a couple of years wants their money, but it allows you to pay them probably what they're looking for, even if it's not worth it right now. Seller financing, owner financing, owner seller carryback, seller holding a note. Those are all different ways to say seller financing. We'll talk about a couple of examples today that we're doing now, seller financing. But basically it means the seller is becoming the bank. It's not Bank of America anymore, it's Bank of Seller that is lending me the money to buy their home. And we'll show you how that works. You can get primary financing, go to a normal bank, and have a seller financing second. Are there any lenders in the room, traditional lenders? So if you work with the lender, at Chase Bank or wherever, and you say, hey, I found the home, I know you need 20% down. Right? You want 20% down as investment property for me. But I'm buying this home, the seller is agreeing to give me 20% for seller financing, and you give me 80%. What does that bank tell you? No. Hell no. So they say, hell no. There are some smaller community banks that might agree to that. There's some portfolio lenders that might agree to that. Typically, they want you to have skin in the game and win in the game. So you're going to find the right banks that are willing to do this, or often it's recorded as a silent second. Silent second. So it's an agreement between you and the seller, but it's not actually being recorded on the property itself. Or wish for the seller to do that, but that's something that happens quite often. You can get primary financing with alternative financing. So once again, go to a primary bank, and you can get a private money lender or a gap partner for that section as well. You can either do seller financing first position and seller financing second position. First position, let's say for 80% of the loan, they're okay with being paid out over 10 years. But they really want 20% down. And you're saying, I don't have 20% down right now, so I'll give you a 20% second loan that is accelerated over the next year. Because I know over the next year I'll be able to sell something, I'll be able to pay you that money, but that allows you to reduce your costs out of pocket through multiple seller financing scenarios. All right, I know that was a lot, so we're going to jump into any questions about any of those topics we just covered. Make sense? So we'll spend a little bit more time on seller financing, subject to primary, because we have deals going on right now that I can show you what that looks like. But this is just a diagram of a normal financing scenario. You get a buyer and seller. Buyer gives down payment to the seller at closing. Seller gives buyer the home, and a third-party bank says, all right, we'll take an IOU from you, and we'll give this seller the money. Right? So we all understand that concept. On a seller financing, all we do is take the bank out of the equation. All the same things happen. Right? Buyer gives down payment, and seller gives the home, and then you got this IOU for the remainder of the money. All it is, exact same transaction, same documents, really, just without the bank involved, and the seller now becomes the bank. If I buy this home from the seller, if I buy this home from the seller, and they are my lender, and I stop paying them, what can they do?
Take the house back.
They get to foreclose on it. If I stop paying the bank, they get to foreclose on it. They get the bank, they get the loan, as long as they feel that there's enough equity in that property to absorb the cost that it's going to take them to kind of foreclose on the property, then it's a good deal or safe deal for them in many scenarios. So we're going to go through some multiple offer terms that I typically do, and this is a specific property that I'm buying, closing on it next week. When you're writing an offer, you're trying to find properties for creative financing. It's hard to do on the MLS. It's very hard to do, although it's possible. These are typically off-market deals, so you're dealing with the broker directly before they list the property, you're dealing with the wholesaler, or you're dealing with the seller directly, right? And so you having access to off-market deals, and maybe finding them in this room is extremely important because that changes the way you can negotiate with the seller. But typically, you're going to want to make sure you have your address, these are just terms, your price, what type of funding are you bringing to the table, what's the rate, the term, the amortization schedule, or is it interest only, or others? These are things that you need to specify in your offer for creative financing. We need proof of funds typically if you're bringing anyone to the table. What is the title condition? Are you taking it as is, or are they giving you a clear title? Is there an inspection contingency, earnest money deposit? What's the closing date? And then what's your access to the property? So these are all the things that you're going to want to make sure you put in your offer. Dealing with the seller directly or dealing with the wholesaler, you need to check off these boxes. Sometimes there's some other terms in a unique area. So pro tip, every time I buy a property off market, I typically give the seller more than one offer. Typically 3, sometimes 4. Meaning, Mr. Seller, here's my offer, but hold on, there's more. Here's a different offer, different price. And then say, whoa, hold on, here's the third offer I'm going to give you. Why would you do that? Other than multiple personality syndrome, right? This personality loves the property more than this personality. What would be the benefit to me, the buyer, to give a seller multiple offers instead of one offer?
The seller feels more in control of the deal.
What's that?
The seller feels more in control of the deal.
Seller feels more in control of the deal. That's a perfect answer. They are now choosing. I don't ever want a seller to be choosing between yes or no. Those are bad odds for me. I want them to be choosing between option 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's way more likely they're going to do that versus my yes or no option. So, here's your property, Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a turnkey. We're going to do short-term rental out there. We love Arizona. We love it quite often. This one, we're estimating $10,000 a month in short-term rental. Short-term rental, pretty close to rate. We're asking $950, which is a little under market. $950. We feel it's somewhere close to $975. These are my 3 offers. I'm going to give you 4 offers. So let me ask you this first. If this is your property, this is what you know. It's a single-family home in a beautiful area, beautiful neighborhood. Everything's over $1 million there. Rents for $10,000 a month. What would your cash offer be? Let's say you had to make a cash offer. Sell us something, I really want cash. Work it through in your head. What do you think your max cash offer for this property would be for it to make sense for you?
If that's market value? If it's market value, is that
Yeah, let's say this is market value.
Probably 30 to 40%.
Okay, which would be 600-ish or so. Yeah.
Around there.
Anybody make it a bigger cash offer?
725.
725. Okay. I mean, I'm a seller. I'm wanting 950. It's worth 975. I'm feeling I get a 725 offer or a $600,000 offer. What do I say? Am I excited?
Hell no.
You were a scum of the earth, lowballing me, right? So why do we need to lower that price when we're making a cash offer? What is the reason?
To incentivize.
Cash is expensive. Cash is expensive. If it's your cash and someone else's cash, it's costing a lot of money. You need to understand the opportunity cost of your cash. And so I'm paying somebody for that cash, or I'm taking away that cash away from my opportunity for the next 3 months, 6 months, 10 years, whatever it is, and that's a lot of money. So cash is extremely expensive, and you need to adjust your numbers for it to make sense. Sellers are not happy with that price. Well, my cash offer was $650. There was no contingencies. We're going to close in 5 to 10 days. And what did the seller tell me? Pound sand. Somebody goes down. I said, no, okay, actually, I'm going to give you a different offer, and it's higher. Not exactly what you're looking for, but here, I'm actually going to offer you $850. So there's $200,000 spread between my first two offers. I'm going to offer you $850, but I need an inspection, I need an appraisal, it's going to be 30 to 45 days, I'm going to get financing. That's it, it's a normal offer. And he's like, well, can I have cash on $850? I said, no. And I had to explain why I couldn't do that. I need to pay someone, or I need to take away opportunity cost from the cash, it's the cost of my cash. Here, I'm only putting 20% down instead of 100% down. Right? So this is costing me much less, so I can afford to pay you more. They're very comfortable in their return to me. And I said, but I have a third offer for you. I'm going to give you exactly what you're looking for. No contingencies, 5-day close, 80% seller financing. It's going to be a 6.5% interest rate for 5 years. And you start to say, I don't understand the seller financing thing, I need to explain it. So we started to talk about that a little bit more. And he loved full price offer, wasn't sure about seller financing, hasn't really explored that before, but there's an option. Just he owns it free and clear. So he has an option there. And then I said, you know what? One more option for you. Just because I like you. I didn't want to overpay on your property. I think we both agree your property is not worth $1 million. We agree on that. But I want to give you $1 million. No contingencies, I'll close in 5 days, but I need you to do 90% seller financing. Right? It's going to be at 5.5% interest rate for 5 years. And so through my multiple offer strategies, I get to educate sellers without being condescending. I get to educate them on the value of cash and the differences between traditional financing and creative financing. So through that offer process, and I do not care less when they accept it. Do not care. If they accepted cash, I'd be happy. If they accepted this, I'd be happy. That one, they all work out to very close to me. Right? So I run my numbers in my offers to where my cash flow is comparable no matter what they choose. So I generally would give them any of those options. He chose this one. We bought it for $1 million, just under $1 million, and he's financing 90% of it. And it's at a really good interest rate, 5.5%. We have some extensions in there as well. But if I just offered him that, and there's nothing to do, that's my only offer, he'd be very confused, it'd be hard to get there. If I offer him just that, I'm just come up here trying to steal his property. But this multiple offer strategy skyrockets your acceptance rate. So if you do anything, just figure out how do you start writing multiple offers, and we understand why this is difficult when the property's on the market, correct? If it's already on the market, it's very difficult to do this, and that's why it's off market. Yes, yes.
How do you approach the seller like that? Do you talk all those offers all through with them first, or do you show them the offer?
Yeah, so I keep it as simple as possible. And so we're going to talk on the phone and see I'll summarize this for you in like something as simple as this as well. So this property, so one of my number one sources of leads is through broker outreach or professional outreach. I reach out to professionals, or someone on my team reaches out to professionals all the time. The markets that we want to invest in, those are real estate brokers, those are real estate wholesalers, real estate property managers, sometimes lenders and title companies, depending on the area. And we're calling them up and saying, hey, we want to invest in your area, we want to do a deal with you. And so I was calling someone a couple days ago in Scottsdale that I've been building a relationship with. He was a broker and a wholesaler, building a relationship with for almost 6 months. Good job. It's been a while. We haven't done business together. Here's the deal I just did, here's the deal I just did, this person made this much money. I want you to make money. I feel bad having these conversations when we're not making money together. What is the best deal that you have that's off market, that's not quite ready to close yet, that you want to talk about? And he brought me this deal. I said, okay, how long have you been talking to the seller? Like, do you have another contract? I don't have another contract yet. Okay, what do we need to do? So literally, we got the seller on the phone. I said, would you be comfortable if we did a call with the seller right now and we figured out what their hesitation was? And so literally, got that wholesaler and the seller on the phone. We talked through these options. It took about 15 minutes. And we went through this progression of he hates me to that's a little bit better to now we're talking to, we should close right away. Right? And this is something we've been working on for over 6 months. We closed that 15 minutes on the phone. We've got to understand that progression. And it's psychology more than anything. So, if you were the seller, which offer would you choose? You guys put yourself in the seller's position. Which offer would you choose?
Depends on how bad he needs what.
I don't care about him. I care about you now. You're the seller. Which one would you choose?
Depends on if I need more cash. So it'd be between 3 or 4.
All right, so between 3 or 4, you don't need the cash right now. You just want a higher price. Anybody would take the cash offer? You want it for your pair. You bought it for $500. You can make some money. No? Okay. Like in the room, there's probably someone that would consider every single one of these offers. Everyone's situation is different, so I'd be surprised so many times that someone took my local offer. And it was only after I played, now they understood the value of cash, the value of money as a business, and then they went back and said, actually, I'll take that cash. I understand exactly what you're saying now. No contingencies, closing right away is worth something to them in terms of peace of mind. Yes, yes.
If they take offer number 1, they also pay more taxes, right?
Yes. So in terms of capital gains, that becomes a bigger capital gains hit for them upfront versus over time. And that's a discussion. To be honest, I don't even talk about that in the beginning. I want to keep it as simple as possible because they really care about one thing. Right? They don't know they should care about so many other things, but they care about one thing, and we're speaking to that one thing, and we're layering in a few other things. Does that make sense? Now, as a buyer, which would you choose? Right? And everyone's going to have a different answer in this room. There's no wrong answer. I wouldn't be happy with any of these answers. You might say, all right, I don't have $650 cash. What would I do if I knew I had $300,000 of instant equity? How would I go find that $650,000 of cash? How much would I have to pay to bring in $650,000 of cash? And by paying that much, do I still have a margin? If I could pay someone $200,000 for their $650,000 of cash, it's a lot of money, but I still have a margin, right? So now just understanding what are their margins, and if you can invest on margins, that's all that matters. All right, what are some reasons sellers would sell with creative financing? Why wouldn't they just sell outright? What are some of those reasons that a seller might say, you know what, this actually makes sense?
Oh, I know. You can't get it done any other way.
They can't get it done any other way. Why?
Because what the market will give him is not to his liking. He wants to hear.
So they're insane, and they want to agree with their insanity.
That's most of the people I deal. Most of the people I deal with. Yes.
So they want to sell it for more than it's worth. It sounds insane.
No, it doesn't sound.
Be able to do that.
It doesn't sound insane because they've lived with that reality in their little mind for years.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one, hopefully it's easier. It's not a 30 to 45 day process. And let me tell you, as I check off these contingencies, we're going to close next week. No matter what, we're closing next week. Better price, typically. You can't get a steal of a deal, price-wise, and amazing seller financing terms. It's usually either or a blend of those. Better terms, addressing a concern or need. They might have a unique concern. you about this earlier. You guys bought a property, seller wants to stay there for 6 months. That's a unique concern. If a seller wants to live in your home 6 months rent-free, what's their likelihood of selling it on open market on the MLS? 0. Every single buyer in the MLS can't do that. Right? They get a loan, and their lender is saying, you're buying this to live in, and we're only going to give it to you if you move into the property. You can't rent this out for 6 months. You'll be denied for your loan. So that's a unique set of circumstances that you might be able to solve for that seller. I'll go through this really, really quick. How are we doing on time? Okay. I haven't even noticed you guys. So these are just like bullet point discussions, right? Let's have discussion with the seller, and we'll go over some case studies to round up here. Always be in control. We mentioned this earlier. Make this feel like they're in control. Give them as many reasons to feel like they are controlling the situation. That's why I give them a law offers. That changes so many things for them. You're going to ask a ton of questions. You'll lead the conversation. Don't feel silence. You ask an awkward question, and they don't say anything. It's human nature to want to explain yourself a little more and explain why I offered you $650 right away. You never feel silence. Let that awkward talk, that awkward silence sink in, because that's where they're actually thinking. I've seen so many people talk themselves out of a deal by trying to fill in the awkward silence to make themselves feel better. Don't worry about how you feel. Just let it sink in. Let that awkward silence sink in, because that's what they're thinking. You start talking again, they can't compute or think about the offer you just made. Position yourself as a friend. Position yourself as the authority to solve their problem. There's no way they're considering doing this unless they have some sort of problem. There's some sort of unique situation that they need solved. If not, then they're not coming to you. That's really what it is. If you can solve their problem, you can do that. And it's more about how you say it than rather than what you say. How to win friends and influence people. There's so many books on how to do this better, but having better ability to communicate and build a relationship. Once again, that's why on-market deals are very tough for this, because you have almost no ability to build a relationship with the seller, right? Sometimes you build a relationship with an agent, and that's great. But you can never almost get this detail into the discussion to find out what's important to them. So that's why I work with an agent to find off-market, work with the wholesaler to find off-market. If you go to your seller, is where most of the great financing deals happen. Here's like the bullet points. This might be in Casey's book as well, probably. What's the lowest price you take for the property? Here than that. I don't care what they say. Really don't think you can get to that number for cash. I can probably get there on terms. And they're like, well, they're terms. You know, what do you mean that? On terms. What kind of interest? Okay. Right? I may be able to get to that price for the property, but I can't get it to you all at once. I'm going to have to make installment payments. Right? And getting them used to that. The installment payments will be paid monthly, but they need to be at a level where I can still run a profitable business after I collect rents. Does that make sense? You're bringing this back to this business for you, and it needs to make business sense for us to move forward. Hypothetically, if I can get my team to pay you exactly what you want, always have a team, even if it's just you. Even when I started out, I needed someone else to approve my decision. It happened to be my girlfriend at the time, that became my wife at the time. Someone had to approve it. I'm like, nice guy, your home's so beautiful, I would give you like way more than you're asking for. But my boss is a jerk. I need to run these numbers by them and make sure it makes sense. So now you get to build that relationship without being the one up front. Right? All the time to this day, I still have someone else approving my decisions. So, right? And then shut up and listen. Let me do some math, and I'm going to see how I can make this deal make sense on paper with your ideal price. Here's the key. For you, I have to run the numbers, but if I can get you the price of blank, with the terms of blank, that would you be happy with that? Would you be able to get to an agreement of purchase for this property? You're getting them to pre-agree to yes before you go to your car and make a big phone call. That's what it is. You're getting them to pre-agree to that. They will. I don't think we can do that, but if you could pull that out, yeah, we'd have the deal today. Okay, so we'll go make a quick call. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple case studies of deals that I closed this week or I'm closing this week, and these are the ones with elements of great financing in it. I just got back from Florida This one's in Cappello, City Beach, Florida. We purchased this on the 5th. We bought this for $630,000. We're putting $150,000 into this property. Like I said, you use trade financing to put minimal out of pocket. I still like putting money in the deals. Gives me some equity. I don't over leverage myself. I try to make sure I have the right leverage mix for my comfort level, my wife's comfort level. But out of pocket is down payment, closing costs. If there's an agent involved, we always make sure that they get paid. If there's a wholesaler involved, we always make sure that they get paid. And then if we're doing a short-term rental, then it's renovations if needed to make it short-term rental ready, and furnishings to make it short-term rental ready. So this one, down in the city beach, right next to the water, beautiful with a pool, fully renovated already, but with a little bit of work. But out of pocket, we're going to spend $150. SDR low in revenue for this one is around $6,000 a month. High months is going to be $10,000, low months is going to be $3,000, $6,000 a month average. Now, if I'm setting aside $1,000 for utilities, cost of systems and management as well. So, if I got a mortgage on this property, regular mortgage at current rates, DSCR rates is what I can get, it would be just under $5,000 a month for this property, taxes, insurance, and mortgage. Which means, for all my effort and $150,000 investment, I would get $200 a month. I can get excited about that. And so, I would not buy this deal, even though it cash flows, because it doesn't meet my bylaws in terms of not just the property, but the return or the margins that I need. So here's the actual terms that we agreed to. Sub 2, they had a mortgage of $387,000 and saying, hey, let's take that over. Your principal and your tax insurance, their current mortgage is around $3,200 a month. And that's not all of the purchase price. And so they had almost $200,000 of equity after a down payment that we didn't want to give them. We want the reserve funds for furnishings and updates. And we said, would you be willing to allow us to take over sell 2 and do a seller second on the equity of the property? They said yes. I said, do you need payments? Are you worried about payments? I'm going to take over taxes, insurance, maintenance, and you'll never have to spend a dime on this property more. But do you need small monthly payments, or do you just care about the money in the future? He said, we just care about the money in the future. Okay, how about this? We'll do a seller carry. We'll give you that $189, which means we're going to be giving them 0% interest on that seller carry. And we're going to do that 8 years from now. You're just going to get a balloon payment. And they said, that sounds good. So, you guys have to agree to a seller carry of 0% interest, 0 payments for 8 years. Our only mortgage on this property for the next 8 years is going to be $3,200. And so our cash flow is almost $2,000 positive because of that. We're making $200 if we're buying this in the normal way. We're making $2,000 because of negotiations to create a financing strategy. Does that make sense? Here's another one. We just closed on this yesterday. 99. Purchase price is $620. Roughly $150 out of pocket again. This is going to be Cape Coral, Florida. Beautiful home. 3 years old, 4 years old, something along those lines. Nice pool, right on the canal water. Fairly new. We're estimating a little over $6,000 a month in short-term rental conservatively on this one. We're going to set aside $1,000 a month for utilities, management, maintenance. If we got a market rate mortgage, we'd be paying $4,700 or just under $5,000 a month, which, okay, not bad. There's still a slight margin of $600 a month in cash flow. Some people would say, I'll take that cash flow. I like that. But for us to invest $150,000, so we get $600 a month in cash flow is not acceptable to my current budget. And so we said, what can we do? We're doing a subject to on this one. There's $446,000 on the mortgage at a 4.75% interest rate. The all-in PITI, principal interest tax insurance, is $3,400 on this property. And we did the same thing. The equity that they're not getting the down payment remainder is $117,000. And same thing. You'd be surprised how many people do not need their money. Like, their money is almost a burden to them right now. I'm the same way. I don't want my money back. If I'm lending my money out, I don't actually want it back because it's going to sit and be lazy, not making me a return. I'd rather be out secured by real estate if I'm not actively using it. So you said, no, I don't need payments. All right. So you're okay if you just pay a lump sum of $117,000 in the future. said, yeah, I'd be okay with that. And we talked about interest rate. We did not talk about interest rate. We just said, there's a $117,000 difference. Are you okay if we paid you $117,000 in the future? And I said, yes. Okay. So that's a 0% interest rate, 0 payments for 5 years. We also put in protection. We try to get every seller to agree to this. Not every seller agrees to this. But we said, in 5 years, we're going to have to refinance this property to pay off your original mortgage and to pay you off. That's how we're going to do that. We can only do that if there's a minimum amount of equity. We need roughly 30% equity for a lender to say, yes, we're going to refinance this property so that we can pay you off. So, in 5 years, we'll get an appraisal, and if it's lower than 30% equity, we're going to get an extension year after year after year until we have enough where the bank's going to say, yes, you have enough equity to do this. So that's our protection of a downside market. And he's like, that makes sense. If you explain me why, that makes sense, right? Some sellers are going to say, no, I don't want it. That's your risk, not mine. Okay, we take it out. Actual mortgage is $3,500, $3,400. We're getting just under $2,000 a month of cash flow instead of $600. We did the normal process. Here's something we're closing on 2 days from now. Tomorrow. Listen. Well, we're closing this. It says in broken mold for home loss. $670,000. We're going to spend roughly $150,000 out of pocket, closing costs, down payment, furnishing, etc. Short-term rental revenue, we're estimating once again $6,000. Utility, we're setting aside some money for that. Market rate mortgage is going to be $5,000 a month, which means we're going to break even on this property. So we bought this, we've been spending $150,000 to break even because of the current interest rates, and we're not happy with that. So we agreed to seller financing terms. They own this outright, and we got them to agree to 3.5% interest rate, a 30-year amortization. I don't know if we talked about this, but if you amortize over 30 years, it can be amortized over 10 years. What happens to the payments when you go from 30-year amortization to a 10-year amortization? They go up. They go up a little bit, like they skyrocket, right? Or 10-year amortization, and you take it on to 30 or 40 years, your payments go down, right? So you can keep your payments where it makes sense and still give them the price or the rate that you want by understanding how to change that amortization schedule, right? So amortization schedule is change a little bit. We're doing a 5-year term that's a minimum on seller financing or sub to, and then the actual mortgage to the seller plus taxes and insurance is just under $3,200 right now, and so we're getting $2,000 a month, or just under $2,000 a month on this. Where it would have been we shouldn't look at it as a break even profit, right? All because, and even if we get like a 5.5%, right, then we get on the other one, the numbers didn't meet our criteria. So we said, I understand you would like 5.5%, but it actually doesn't make sense for us to pay you this price. This is a number that we need. I actually don't care about the interest rate, I just care about the payment. This is a payment that we can afford, and they said, that makes sense, right? Last one, I'm super excited about this. It's Scottsdale, Arizona, love Arizona, Scottsdale, right outside of Phoenix, beautiful area. Purchase date is going to be next week on the 18th. This is just under $1 million. Out of pocket, we're going to spend around $200,000 on it. A little bit more, as furnishings, a little bit of updating, and then their down payment. Estimated revenue in this market is a great short-term rental market, $10,000 a month. We can blow that out of the water, that's a conservative number. Utility maintenance, we're setting aside $1,000 a month. Mortgage at current rates would be $7,500. So we make a little bit of money. We make $1,500 positive cash flow. It's close to my buy box, where I'd say I'd still go with that. But we said, can we still make this work? Can we make this a better deal? So here's the seller financing terms. We agreed on a 5.5% interest rate. This is the example from earlier with the 4 offers that I showed you. We agreed on a 5.5% interest rate, 30-year amortization, 5-year term. Actual mortgage is going to be $5,400 a month. That's after your tax, insurance, and interest, mortgage interest. Seller, we're going to make just under $4,000 a month positive cash flow on this property, right? And that's just because of the ability to negotiate and explain the seller financing terms. So once again, I think I mentioned this earlier, the key to all seller financing here through all negotiations is when people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, they need to build relationships. You can't get this far unless you're able to build some sort of relationship with the decision maker. And then two, the confused mind always says no. And most sellers will be confused about just talking about this high level without going through the progression and educating them over 15 to 20 minutes of here's what these mean. And then 15 minutes later, they're less confused and they're more likely to say, that makes sense. Right? Yeah.
Would you be kind enough to put your contact information on the
Yeah,
screen?
so that's my contact information. That's all I have today, guys. I appreciate you guys for listening. Are there any general questions about anything that we covered? I can take that now or set up the guys in sidebar. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Would I be excused? My head's full.
Quick question. Were you using the term buy box? Is that what you said? Like, that's your happy place?
Yes.
And so what goes into your happy place?
Yeah, it changes over time, but if you get really good at attracting deals, which I've done for 20 plus years of doing this, I started out saying there's not enough deals. I don't know where the next deal is going to come from. Like, I hope I can buy one deal a year. And now I get so many deals sent to me because I do nothing but tell people what I want, and I try to build relationships to get people to send me deals. Right? So now my problem became, there's too many deals. I can't focus on all this. I need to get really good at a few things. So my first buy box, my primary buy box, we didn't talk about today because it's not creative financing, is I buy from landlords that have 10 or more properties. So if you have 10 or more properties and you hate being a landlord, come talk to me. I'll fix the problem. And those properties need to be 2 to 4 units, small multifamily. So if you have 10 properties or 100 properties, I want to buy them all. As long as they cash flow, I'm going to put traditional DSCR debt on it. I buy those all day, every day. That's my main buy box. My second buy box, which I don't talk a lot about, because I don't think people should start with this buy box, but it is exactly what we're talking about. I do single-family homes, large, typically above $600,000 in A-class neighborhoods, where I can do co-living, room-to-room rentals, or short-term rentals, and there's some sort of creative financing element to it. So those are my 2 buy boxes, and I don't get anything in between. Any other questions? Thanks, guys.
When I come back up, I was going to jump through some of our agreements. So, you want to jump through that?
I'm sick of being happy.
Yeah. So, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions about any seller finance or creative finance stuff? We've got a couple sample deals too. I'm not going to go through all of our slides. I'm not doing a great job of explaining the concepts of creative finance, Jen. I'm not going to go through, but we didn't talk about novation. We talked a little bit about novation. This is actually a deal that Steven and I did early this year. This was an estate that Steven had a long-time relationship with the owner. The owner had passed away. The daughter was the executor of the estate, traveling into town to handle the affairs of the family. They had to have an estate sale. They had the celebration of life that was coming up. And they had some family that was coming to town in order to, for the celebration of life. And so, Steven had approached her with a cash offer. It wasn't quite where she wanted to be. So we talked and kind of game planned a little bit about how can we offer her a little bit more. I just threw that 675 number. I don't know if that's accurate or not based on what Steven had offered her in cash, but it wasn't quite enough to get her there. So we said, well, we can offer you a little bit more. 709 is where we ended up landing to basically handle all the problems and give her the timeline that she wanted. All that was important to her was, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I need to have this estate sale. I've got a family coming to town. Here's the day of the celebration of life. And I just want to close and go home with my family right after that. And so what we did was, Steven was really instrumental in having a relationship with her and kind of helping her get through the timeline items. Me having a little bit more experience with putting the property under contract at 709. We listed it at 750. This is the house in Arlington. We knew there were going to be a ton of buyers for it, so we listed it aggressively. We were thinking initially that we'd land maybe in the low 800s with some expenses and fan realtor fees, and we have a nice little payday. Well, the competition was fierce. The property escalated up to 905. We paid about $35K and some expenses, realtor fees, and so on and so forth. And we walked away with $160K on the deal, which is obviously an amazing deal. And so I want to share that with you. We probably talked about it in the past, but it was a huge grid win in innovation, so I could not talk about it today. Anybody have questions about novations that weren't answered by online?
I have a quick question just about an appraisal. Do you do an appraisal, and at what point, and how did you value that first offer?
The offer that we gave her?
Yeah.
Just knowledge of the market, honestly. We knew what the approximate renovation expense was going to be. We knew what had sold probably in a similar condition. So we made her an offer. We knew the property needed 150, 200K to be worth 1.1 in Arlington. So we made her cash offer where we felt comfortable. Stephen was thinking about renovating it at one point. We had kind of talked about doing some work on it before we listed it. But ultimately, the reason why we wanted to do innovation was because we wanted to open it up to conventional buyers. So ultimately, the person that bought it put a big, I think they put like 30% down on it, came in with a bunch of cash, financed the rest. They did do an appraisal, which passed. And the seller didn't blink at the 160K fee, essentially, that we charged for the time and everything. She just cared about getting her 709 that we agreed upon. Now, this was also a, 4 or 5 month process.
Start to finish, yeah.
Yeah, so, there was some risk on our part. When we put the property under contract in 5 months ago and something happened in the market, we would have been on the hook for the 709, but obviously the market talked and we ended up making a lot more than we thought. But, there was risk on our part, too. Somebody else have a question?
How many offers did you get?
How many offers did we get? I think we had like
65 at least.
Did it become like a game?
Yeah, so what happened was we got several offers. We got a bunch of investor offers at in the 700, 775, 750. We got a bunch of those. Then we had some retail buyers coming in at 800, 825. And then at the last minute, this buyer comes in with a competing offer at I think 750 or 850 or 875. And then the next thing I know, they were kind of best and final, and they came in at 709, at 905, and we were kind of with this big chunk down, we were kind of God, what are we doing? That's kind of how it went. Yeah, it was an escalating affair for sure. We had a bunch of offers. Jen, do you want to go up and talk about the lease to own example that Jen did?
This is a quick example of a lease to own option that I took over. So the situation was a tenant that had not paid their rent in over a year. They were facing eviction, but they also had an option to buy the property. So Questions, aha, insights, what did you learn? I think the biggest question that we get a lot is like the best attorney and title company. So online, I know Mike's been working with some, but it is always a little interesting, I'm sure, having an attorney in the room where people are like, what are you doing? So always feel free to reach out. You know, Mike's a huge wealth of knowledge, especially on the
Cassie.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
Thank you.
Do you want to pull another name? I have two of them.
You have two of them already?
I just like another one.
Fair enough. Oh, you got to sign one. Okay. Callie.
I got Steven's name, but do you read Steven?
Can you read, Steven?
Steven.
I feel like we need to go to
Love it. I'll read it.
Putting them back in?
We're going to be doing this giveaway for the cabin luxury cabin stage next month's event as well, and hoping to do 2 pools on that.
2 polls next event. Drum roll. Aaron! Typing in some screws and dots.
We'll look at calendar, and we travel a lot, so we'll look at the calendar, but we're looking to book within the next 3 to 5 days. But we can play with that.
That'd be great.
Perfectly fitting.
a little
And like we said, thank you all for being here. We're gonna let you guys network a little bit. Again,
Will we get a distribution list of attendees?
yes, I got your information. I'll make sure that I put you on there, but there'll be email reminders and stuff.
I don't know all these people.
you don't?
And I need to.
Yes, you're right. Thank you.
And we want to thank Shelley Cook for opening it up. They're usually closed today, and we appreciate
Thank you,
her. Her and Jeremy and her staff are taking care of us. And please, if you're hungry, they've got food and more drinks and stuff, so help yourself.
And next month we are talking about SDIRAs,
Yes.
self-directed
Yeah,
IRAs.
I got a speaker that is going to be talking about the self-directed IRAs.
Did you brag on Jeremy?
I did.
I didn't hear it.
He is phenomenal. We love Jeremy.
All right, let's hear it for Jeremy.
Thank you guys again. Give you guys some time to hang out, mingle, and hope to see everybody at our next event next month, same place, same time.